This is Doug.
This is Katie.
And this is Balboa at Wednesday Night Hop.
June 2015.
Week 3.
Just that.
This many.
All right. So we did some review of lollies, the come around into lollies that we did last week. And if you remember, at the very end of last week, we covered the
exit with the inside turn.
The exit with the inside turn. So we went back over that again. And then we did turns into lollies. So instead of turning into a basic, we did a turn straight back into lollies. We talked about how I put my hand a little further around Katie when we do the turns back into lollies, and I keep
into closed, which is
versus into closed. I tend to reach a little further around her back so that we can go immediately back into closed. And then I also keep a lot of distance and let her turn right on the spot rather than
traveling together.
Yeah, traveling together.
Yeah. And at one count, are you picking up to go into closed, and at what count are you picking up to go back into lollies?
So if I'm going back into closed, I'll pick up a little bit earlier versus if I'm going back into lollies, I'll wait until like 2 and to catch her back. So let me show that from this angle. So starting from a basic 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I put my hand on Katie's just under her waist around 2, and so I was able to catch her on 3 without her just continuing to rotate.
Yeah. Phew. Awkwardness.
Awkwardness.
Not turning into awkwardness.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then we took those 2 turns, the turn into the basic and then the turn back into lollies. These are both inside turns. And we did them with a free spin. And that just is the turn without arms attached.
No hands, Ma.
And we worked on that for a while. We talked about how it shouldn't really feel any different than the one with the arm, but it's really important, and it sort of forces you to have a really good stretch connection on the out of your kicks. So if you haven't been really getting a good stretch in those kicks, then you're not going to be able to do this. One of the things we mentioned was not having like a lot of arm in and out. That makes
it in the center.
Yeah, so that arm action in and out makes your lollies a little less stable, I find. Whereas if I add like a little bit of extra stretch for the turns, it's really distinctive because our arms are in the same place.
Yeah, it's a really nice and clear difference. Very direct. We also talked about rotating our bodies with the lollies. In, away, that it's a very rotational movement. And we also talked about how the leads on the the entrance into lollies from a come around, just let the follow unwind, open, while the leads are staying in place.
Yeah, so I'm not stepping away from Katie. I'm just rotating and letting her rotate away from me.
Yeah. Then we covered some other moves.
Yeah, so we covered a toss-out. And so what we discovered, if you've seen toss-out from another teacher or from a recap video of a class we taught before, you might have realized if we do the entrance into lollies
from a come around,
and then instead of doing lollies, we just do the exit
step together
back into a basic. That's a toss-out. So we have already built what we needed to do these toss-outs. So we didn't have to spend a lot of time breaking them down. everything that we've said about the entrance into the toss out and the exit out of entrance into lollies and exits out of lollies is still true. We're just not doing any lollies in between.
We just have that kick and then back to the steps that are going together. So let's demo that once more.
2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8.
1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. And I mentioned to follows about kind of keeping your arms a little bit lower at your sides and then hands in front of you, so you can very easily just graze your arm over your lead's arm back into close or back into lollies, as opposed to having to do a bigger movement with your whole arms and hands.
We also did an exercise towards the end that was just fine-tuning, trying to get a really nice flow in the dance. And so we talked about just being able to turn with your partner, just sort of shuffling around in a circle, and being able to stay connected but be very smooth in our movement, potentially fast. And we talked about how when particularly our transitions coming in and out of toss-outs
back to rotation
have that smooth rotational feel where we connect and let our momentum move together. So if your dancing feels a little choppy, if you don't feel like you have that Balboa flow, that's a good exercise. If you have somebody you can work with, just get together, connect in that regular Balboa connection. Don't worry so much about footwork, but just travel in a circle. We're taking single steps.
Yeah, leads are rotating or turning over their right shoulder. Follow staying connected, chest to chest, and a nice connection with the arms too, nice and relaxed, but connected. You might be crossing your right foot in front for the tighter, faster turns a little bit. Yeah, so it's a really great way to not just stay linear in your basics and come-arounds, but to keep it rotational.
Yep, which will make all of this work better, as well as having a really nice flow.
Yeah, so we covered a lot of awesome material, and we'll see you next week for variations and more fun things. Yay!
Cool. Thank you.